It's from the files. It's from the assets, bro. It's from the... No, mate, those shouldn't be an asset. Oh, I'm just... Why... Oh, I can't stand F123. I'm trying to type. I'm trying to do something. I'm really trying to just... Yeah. Yeah, because I'm being very... I'm getting very irritated when people just don't bloody do something that they need to do. Aljat being a bloody... Why is he sharing host status with somebody? Why? Who does that? Who shares host status with somebody? Bloody hell. I bloody can't. Okay, we're in. Okay, I'm in. Okay. I think I have Miles down, Zach Miles, so... I said to Connor that it's in the files. Yeah, there's literally nothing I can do. If it's in the files, what else am I meant to do? I can't look now. YouTube's going to get all screwed up. Just tell me. Okay, we're going to get ready. Okay, we're going to get going in a second. And we're going to start the ads.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL. It's Wednesday night. It's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Ronnar, but Boromant's got the inside.
Star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Hello everybody, welcome back to PSGL F5. Today we are here for round 6 of the season. It is time to go to a big island of Japan. And I am here, as you can probably see on screen, joined alongside by the brilliant commentator of Omi. How are you doing, my good friend?
Hello, Epic. I am doing well. It's hopefully going to be an exciting race here at Japan. Really looking forward to this. We're about to get straight into qualifying, but we haven't really been here for a few weeks, so we have a lot to update you guys on.
Yeah, so let's first go over to the standings, if I can get there. So here are the standings. NLR Joris now leads on 57 points after taking a very nice victory at the track of the Red Bull Ring. Then, of course, we have Sixter Lindhart and Derha in second and third, Adam Lundqvist and Aljat next. I believe we're about to get into qualifying. I'm not very sure. Yeah. As you can see, the qualifying, as you can see, the calendar is here. It's Suzuka, followed by Imola, Spa, Jeddah, and Mexico to finish off the season. Not just yet, because we still have one more race after that, but that hasn't been announced just yet. So we're now going to get into... So we've got to talk about Joris. He's done quite well lately, in my opinion. He's definitely up for something here. He's definitely up for a good battle, good chance.
Yeah, has definitely done absolutely extraordinary this season. It's been a very, very close championship, has this. He became the first repeat winner last time out as well. So, yeah, he's been absolutely extraordinary, and you really do need to be getting and also if you do want to be champion, you really need to be getting these repeat wins, while others maybe are only getting one. But it's a very competitive championship, so as much as points you can score are really going to help you when you get to the business end of the season. So Joris, really on it.
Yeah, definitely. Another driver who's climbed up a bit and has fought back is Adam Lundqvist, currently third in the championship, as I read it, if I'm right. Derhaar's third. Sorry, Adam Lundqvist is fourth. He's come back quite a bit because he had a tough start to the season, as we all know, as we see the first couple of cars rolling out onto the track. But yeah, he struggled a bit in the first, two races. I don't believe he scored points in either of those first two races, but he's really had a good comeback to get back up into fourth. I think really he's had a bit of a turnaround because he was unlucky sort of start of the season. He's had a couple of rough races. Last race was a bit rough for him, but he is coming back slowly and he is fighting his way back up. Today he could potentially claim... sorry about that. A driver has just crashed, I believe.
Oh.
And that is Zalambida, who looks like he has had a crash out on track, and that is all over for him. So we talk about DNFing in the race. He's done it a bit early in qualifying. Couldn't even get past sector 1. We're not laughing at that. It's just purely, it's just something we don't usually see, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit stunned by that. That's why I'm struggling to find the words.
Yeah. It could have been on purpose because he just said, I'm in the Alpine and my car is Alfa Romeo, my bad. So I think it could have been one on purpose. But yeah, so it's going to be an exciting qualifying. But as you're saying about Adam, he's really turning around nicely. Now, you obviously don't want to have a bad start, but you can turn it around, especially in this kind of season where you usually start seeing some drivers have rough races. So he's starting to turn it around, and I think he definitely might not be out of the picture fully if he can keep that form going.
Yeah, so Ash is going on his first lap in that beautiful Red Bull and that fast Red Bull of 2023. Of course, they're all equal here. So now coming down onto the Suzuka Straight, we all love the Suzuka Straight. We all remember that crash between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost going into turn 1. The first double right-hander is quite fast, sort of fast to medium speed corner. You've got to keep it tight. Don't run too far out on exit. Now up through the Suzuka S's, we all love these S's. Some of the most difficult corners, I have to say, to hook up correctly. But we see there Ash pretty much does that perfectly through the first sector. And up through the hill, through the left-hander, to the end of Sector 1 now into the fast right-hander, followed by another right-hander. As, of course, some people might remember it as these were the corners where Michael Schumacher lost his 8th Drivers' Championship to Fernando Alonso. Coming into the hairpin, we've seen some incidents happen, not only in sim racing, but in real life as well. Up through the right-hander, where, of course, Carlos Sainz had his crash last year. And now into Spoon. One of the strangest corners, almost a repeat of turn 1, but a bit tighter and quite a bit slower, but very strong from Ash there, showing some good speed. He's going to pick up a toe from the Mercedes driver. I believe that is Mattia that was in front, not 100% sure, but coming through 130R, we all love 130R. It's the fastest corner on this track, and honestly, we've seen some moves happen there. Fernando Alonso, of course, being one of them. To the last right and left, we saw a bit of action there happen there last year in Suzuka. And up to the line, Ash, there's a 1 minute 26.175 and an incredibly strong lap, just for a first lap as well.
Yep, a very good first lap by the Red Bull man. As you also see the other drivers slot in. Finn goes to second position currently. He is your only repeat pole sitter of this season. He'll be looking to make it 3 as well. So, really interesting as all of the drivers currently find good lap times. You really want to get a good banker in. It releases some pressure off you later on, just in case if you make a mistake in your final few runs. But Deha goes P1, so even better lap by the Haas driver. Third in the championship at first currently on the timing page. So, great lap by Deha to go into P1. And Ash now in second and Finn in third.
Very good there. Alessandro Finn now Now, we've had some conversations about the AlphaTauri driver. He has had some amazing qualifying performances. He's been inside of the top 5 many times this season, and I've seen it even when we haven't been commentating. I've seen it that he's been inside of the top 5 so many times this season. But it feels slightly, I'm not putting this specifically on him. Of course, things happen around you, like it sadly has for Alessandro Finn. We know he's gotten caught up in first lap action. For instance, Silverstone was one of those areas where he got spun around on lap 1. But doesn't it feel like he almost has brilliant luck and brilliant pace when it comes down to the qualifying and even in the races? But it just feels like sometimes he gets this he's got this bad luck totem almost on him, that he struggles in the races and always has bad luck when it comes down to those sort of times where he needs to make moves and needs to perform when it comes down to driving sort of close to people.
Yep. Obviously, some drivers might just be better on pace-wise than race pace. So it's really definitely going to be something that he needs to work on then. As we did say, but yeah. So also, I think we could. It's really definitely a possibility that that he's been involved in quite a few incidents. So it's really hard for us to tell. But to be honest, I think he really does need to work on it, to be honest, if he wants to really challenge right at the top, because it could be maybe a bit of a driver thing, but he might have got involved in bad luck as well.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Currently, we're riding on board with our current championship leader, Joris. Now, this is somebody that we didn't cover much at the start of the season. But lately, you've got to look at him and go, this man has gone from being 8th in the championship after the first 3 races to now being the championship leader within the next, in the first 2 races he was 8th. Now he's 1st, and he's got a good lead over everybody else. I believe he's got about a 10 to 12 point lead as we see Joris goes 3rd. Very strong lap there from the Ferrari man. But this almost proves, I think, that not everybody seems to be having the best of times, when it comes down to, it almost proves that sometimes, even if you're not too great off the first, 1 to 3 races, you can still come back and still lead that championship. And Joris has been a perfect, he's just perfectly shown that throughout this entire season, to be honest. From especially the last 3 races, he's shown that, because he's gone on a run. He's won 2 of them. He's also gotten, I believe it was 2nd or 3rd in another. His average qualifying has been within the top 3, and his average race performances have also been within the top 2. I believe he's 2nd. He's just behind Derha for average position when it comes to race finishes. But this shows that sometimes not being in the best position is sometimes the best, because consistency might help. And it almost reminds you of the 2007 Kimi Räikkönen championship run, where he didn't win the most races, he didn't get the most podiums, but just because he was more consistent and he stayed out of trouble, he won that championship. And I think Joris has been able to do that very well this season.
Yep, it shows he is your championship leader, and also, obviously, your repeat winner of this year. So, Joris, it really is important to be consistent, and that's exactly what he is showing. And he's also now given himself a big chance to be fighting for this championship. He's in the championship lead currently, but it's really important it's really important in all kind of league racing that you are consistent, that you are always in the games, and you try and minimize those bad results, because those points you lose could lose you the championship. So it's very, very crucial, and I think Joris has done very, very well, but he still has about half of the season to go. So he needs to keep that consistency up, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see him being challenged by any of the other drivers.
Yeah, Aljat with the 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. Where's Aljat to start off with? There he is. He is on an outlap. I believe he is. I'm not sure who he's holding up. Nobody at the moment is in front of him who's actually on a lap. So yeah, I'm a little bit curious by that. for who he actually held up. We're getting a lot of yellow flags throughout most of the lap. I'm not sure why. Yeah, so I'm a little bit confused with that. But having a look, the first driver in these second runs is Menno Nijssen. I'm hoping I got that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. I believe this is his first race. I'm not 100% sure, but if he has raced before, still, so far, ahead of Aljat, which is important because, remember, Aljat is a full-time driver, and Menno is only a reserve driver. So this might... Oh, and there's a driver having a bit of a spin that looked like to be Tricks, it seems to be, I believe. But yeah, as I was saying, it does almost prove that, not everything at the moment is as simple as it seems, because Menno is ahead of Aljat, and this is important for Aljat because, it just shows that sometimes this might not be his track, and there goes Menno into P2, slots just behind Deha in the group. Looking to the next driver behind, it's Philip Seltzer, who goes 5th. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's just sometimes one of those things where it's not so simple as it looks because, we've got a lot of drivers. There's a lot of drivers out on track. There's a lot of things always happening. And so it's never that simple. Aljat's had a bit of a spin, by the way, on his lap. I'm trying to find a Ferrari. I don't know who it is. I don't know who's on the lap, actually, at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we do have Joris about to begin one as well in the Ferrari, as he's going to try turn P4 to P1. That's what he is definitely going to be aiming for, but it is all going to be so close here in Japan. No rain so far. Obviously, we could see some in the race. We are unsure about that, but here in qualifying, it's currently sunny skies as all of these drivers attack around this venue. So it's going to be really, really exciting to see as we head into the final few minutes who's going to be able to find a great lap time. Obviously, they have this run, and then they're going to come into the pits, and they're going to have one last run with the time ticking down. So if you haven't been able to get a lap in, it's going to put a lot of pressure on you in the final 2 runs as well as Matteo goes into P6.
Very strong run. I'm currently watching Joris at the moment. Alessandro Finn goes 4th. Just saw that. But at the moment, Joris is on a very strong run. He's about 300ths up at the moment as it seems. So this currently would put him just ahead of Alessandro Finn. This race almost, for me, is a big showing for Joris because if he can get back-to-back victories, because of course he won last race, if he can get back-to-back victories, that's going to be very important for Joris because it will almost show that on different types of circuits, he still has very strong pace over everybody else.
Yeah. It definitely does, and I can also confirm you we will be getting a lobby restart right before the race as well. So Aljat's penalty will, I think, definitely be removed. It'll also give then a chance to Zalan Bida to also get back in as well. And Joris over the line, he goes P4, so he's now under a 10th, but he's still behind. So he's going to have to find an even better time if he wants to contend for P1. But yeah, just to confirm, we will be getting a lobby restart as well.
Yeah, so that's a bit disappointing. We don't really like lobby restarts. They slow things down a bit, but it won't kill us if we're being honest. Of course, one driver I'm slightly shocked by is 4th place Adam Lundqvist, 18th.
Yep.
I'm slightly shocked by that. He hasn't set a lap time yet. He seems to be really struggling around this track. I haven't really seen him struggle this much in a qualifying session, sort of all season long. And that's slightly worrying, of course, that he is struggling around this track. Traffic. That looks like that came from Victor Vidler. Yes, it was. The Ferrari Victor Vidler. That's just a massive... that's awful. That's just a terrible mistake from Victor Vidler because he could be getting a penalty for that because there was a clear fast car coming behind, especially when it comes down to the pit straight. When you see a car going full speed on the pit straight, you almost know that they're going to be, and especially when they're coming into turn 1 as well. It's not very difficult to miss, but that's going to be very disappointing for the Aston Martin driver who is going to try and set up for a second run. We have got Domi JD out on a lap in the Williams. We haven't spoken about this man that much. He's put in some underdog performances this season. You know, he hasn't been the favourite in all races, but he's still scored a decent amount of points, and he's still outperformed, you know, his teammate and anybody sort of around him at the moment. So does this show that potentially hiding behind the Williams, you know, of Domi JD is an incredibly fast driver and a bit of an unpredictable driver with race results, because his pace, I don't want to call it ping pong, but it kind of ping pongs from track to track. But I think that could be something that people should look out for, is that his pace does ping pong from track to track, but he's still very fast with that, as he does come up to the line, and we will see him go 6th place. And Menno gets also a 5th place grid penalty for blocking. A lot of drivers coming out on track now. If you guys are enjoying qualifying, please subscribe to PSGL and go on to also like this stream. It will be great to get your support. Click on the notification bell for more streams like this. We still have more tiers coming up. Remember, we have got PSGL F1 and we've also got PS as well coming around very soon over the next week. Yeah, so good lap from Domi JD. 1 minute 26.258. At the moment, I want to ask you this question. Do you see Deha holding on to pole right now?
Well, it's definitely going to be very, very interesting to see if he can, but it's close. It's close. Nothing's certain, so I think we could see absolutely anything in this session. So it's going to be really exciting. But they're all going to be queuing up right at the end of the lap to begin their final push lap. So it's going to be really exciting to see who can find an improvement. But Deha, can he maintain it? But we obviously have Menno in P2, obviously picking up the penalty, but that probably, however, that would matter because of obviously he. Because we basically are going to be having a lobby restart, so that will not matter at all. But we're going to have drivers now starting to begin their push lap. It's going to be really interesting. Menno will also be one of the drivers to start their push lap as he makes his way through then all the way then onto the straight. And as you said earlier, a very good straight this is. A lot of action we usually see all the way down towards turn number 1, but Menno is going to start his lap as he tries to start his quest to take pole position as well as he makes his way through turn number 1, about to go into the S's, a very hard part of the circuit to nail. Use all of the track and a tiny bit more, everything that you can get away with without getting some kind of track limits, but he's making his way through perfectly currently. The lap looks clean, the lap looks good, it looks strong, and he'll be looking for a lap that can take him into P1. Dell will be one of the last cars over the line, so we're going to be able to see his improvement, and you can see Menno is up currently. Menno is up by 19 thousandths of a second, and as it currently stands, he will be going into P1, but any kind of slides, any kind of twitches could really cost him on this lap, so this is going to be very interesting as the checker flag now is going to be out in this qualifying session. It's going to be interesting. Can we see an improvement by Menno to go into P1? He's about to go into Spoon Curve currently as it stands, and let's see what is the second sector gonna be looking like for him. He'll be looking like he'll be wanting an electric second sector to go to P1, but it will be about as he's about to head into 130R with the checker flag out as he tries to move up into P1. He's lost time. He's not found the time he needs. He's lost time, so that little twitch of the rear definitely not helping. Finn goes to P1. The man who's taken 2 poles this season is currently having 3, but it'll be more improvements. The other AlphaTauri goes to P4. What can Menno do as he comes over the line? He couldn't find an improvement right at the end. So many more times coming in. We have Felipe going to P6 as well, as we have Ash currently finding time. He'll be hoping that he can try and challenge the lap of Finn. Dow also will be trying to chase and try and move up into P1 as well, as he's currently on his lap, but it's all about, we're about to see now what Ash can do as he makes his way through. DRS about to go open for him as well. Tyre goes to P4. Where can Ash go as he comes over the line? Wait for it. No, he couldn't find an improvement right at the end. Dell can to go to P1 by 4,000ths of a second. What a lap by Dell to currently go into P1. Is there anyone else who can deny him? Doesn't look like, so it looks like Deha will be starting in P1 ahead of Finn. So a very, very exciting qualifying there as Deha picking up his first pole of the season.
Very, very strong from the harsh driver. I have to say, I'm surprised by that lap there from Derha, it really came down to the wire for the Haas driver. Alessandro Finn, though, I have to say, that was an unexpected lap from him. I didn't expect him to go into P2. My question is, what happened to both Ash and Joris? Because they've both really struggled. Because, Joris is 8th. He struggled. I'm not sure how or why, but it just seemed like he struggled a bit on his lap. And we saw Ash had a bit of a slip of the rear, but Ash was up by a couple of hundredths on his lap, and so that would have placed him, if he did finish with that time, he would have actually been 2nd place, possibly 1st. But I don't know what happened in that second to last corner at the chicane, but he had a bit of a slip. So we're going to have to see how that is. Of course, we are having a lobby restart. So as soon as we can, we will be leaving the lobby. We're going to quickly go to a short interval break until we get the lobby back, of course, because it will take a couple of minutes. And we will be back then. See you in a few minutes. Hello. Thank you guys for waiting for just a minute or two. We will be getting back into the race in a couple of moments. We just had to have a lobby restart, but we're going to talk a little bit about what can happen in today's race, because of course it's a possible 2-stop, maybe most likely a 1-stop, but it's because of the tyre wear at this track, and because of the elevation changes as well, that, it almost makes it so the softs aren't a viable option for stint-wise. And so do you think we'll see more sort of hard to medium or medium to hard, or could we be seeing like a 2-stop, like, medium, maybe like medium, hard, soft?
It's going to be interesting, but obviously safety cars can fully change the game as well, so it's going to be really exciting to see what people do. But you obviously need to take care of your tires a tiny bit more, so that's going to be really exciting to see who's actually able to take care of the tires, who's really good with tire management, because they could reign supreme right at the end of it as well, right at the end of their stint. So gonna be really, really exciting is this race coming up. But if there's obviously a safety car, then that could help. A late safety car would be good for them, because then we see some drivers putting on softs, and it really just makes it very, very exciting. So I think we could definitely see a lot of changes here, as well as all of the drivers debating what the weather was in the general chat as well. So yeah. So
Yeah. So, on top of that, thing is, you mentioned about safety cars. Surprisingly, Suzuka has actually one of the lowest sort of percentages for possibility of safety car. So, the risk of a safety car is quite low, actually. It's only a 58% chance in a race that we'll get a safety car at Suzuka. Which is actually very low, to be honest, especially in recent years. For the last about decade, we haven't really had any safety cars, especially when you look from 2019 all the way back to sort of 2010, we didn't really have many safety cars. And so it's only around a 58% chance that we'll actually have a safety car. Even when you bring into sim racing, even in sim racing, it's only around a 58% chance as well. So we don't actually have a high chance of a safety car at Suzuka. And so that could play into it. So for a few drivers, they might be hoping for it, but it might be quite difficult to be able to get what they're wanting, basically. Now, gaining positions around Suzuka is something that's always eluded me. It's always one of those questions of how do people actually gain positions around Suzuka, because you have the hairpin, but it's high risk. Everywhere on track is high risk, and the pit straight isn't massively long, and also going into turn one, it isn't great for side by side. And so, do you think we're going to see a lot of racing because of the track layout? Or is it going to be sort of more, we're going to have a lot of racing, but it's more going to come down onto sort of DRS zones and straights?
Well, I think we're obviously going to get some moves going on at places where you usually do not see them. The drivers will need to be brave, they'll need to be bold, but obviously most of the time it doesn't really pay off. But when it does, it's a very crucial move. But obviously, turn one is going to be the favourite overtaking opportunity, but I would say you really need to be alongside. You really need to be alongside your rival heading down into that turn number one. If you're on the inside and you're not ahead, then that is really bad for you, because you could get easily pinched in. So you really need to be kind of really alongside fully, so you get given room and you really don't get cut across too much. So
now,
yeah,
we know that both Ayrton Senna and Sebastian Vettel in real life had arguments over pole position being on the inside of the track.
Yeah.
Of course, that was actually changed round in for the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix. So the pole position actually started on the outside of the track instead. But do you feel like we've seen even in other races and, other races across, I think, gaming in general, and I think, especially with F1 23, that starting on the right side still seems to give you a disadvantage, because there seems to be a bump just before the start line. There seems to be a small bump that causes you to bottom out the car slightly, and so that could be something that we'll be playing on potentially, Alessandro Finn's mind, that he might bottom out. I'm not 100% sure if the track's been updated on F1 23, that the grid positions are where they used to be, or they're updated now. But either way, it worries drivers on the right side of the track, basically, because of that bump. Luckily for pole position, it's not so heavily hit by the bump, but it happens more in early acceleration. So if it's on the right side, we'll most likely see our pole position taker, Derha, lose out pole, because we've actually seen it in a lot of cases. We've actually seen I've actually got the stat up here, in over 90% of races, pole position has been decided in a different way. It's been decided through, pole position. So the person who starts on pole position has ultimately gone on to lose the lead by turn one in over 90% of the time. So it's a worrying stat against Derha, But it's a good stat. It's a good stat for Alessandro Finn, depending on which side both of them are starting on.
Yep, it definitely is. But when you are, however, obviously before the race is starting, the drivers really aren't too much concerned about all of that. They just want to get the best start possible. It's definitely it might be playing on some of their minds, but to be honest, it really is. It really does depend on who actually does remember that start and who actually knows really that start as well. But it's going to be really exciting. But I still think it's going to be a very interesting turn number one. So going to be super exciting. By the way, and also by the way, we are just on a bit of a hold because obviously basically obviously the weather being debated a tiny bit and all sorts of things. So hopefully we're going to get underway very soon, but we're just on a bit of a hold right now.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, how long do you think until we get going? So with it still seeming like it's possibly going to be around 2 to up to 5 minutes at most until we get going. Here's something that you might actually be interested in, is that how I was saying with overtaking, with the difficulty of is it going to happen on the straights or is it going to be corners? Drivers who usually start in the position of 16th finish within the top 6. Even in sim racing, this is still the average for starting 16th. And so we might have a chance today of seeing an almost sort of 16th to possibly 6th or something higher. You know, we could be seeing a almost Max Verstappen style race, 16th to victory. And so my question to you is, do you think that might happen or do you think it's very unlikely?
It really does depend how much the race is chaotic. If it's a pretty calm one, obviously it's less likely. But if it's more chaotic, if it has safety cars and if it has a bit of drama and a lot of strategy, then I would say absolutely yes. And if you are at the back, you're most likely going to gamble on some stuff as well.
I think we're here so we can give the commentators curse. So yeah, action will happen now if everybody wants to know. Honestly, I'm excited to see this race because it's the second time I'm actually commentating round Suzuka. And, last race that I commentated at in a different league, I enjoyed it so much. I don't think I ever enjoyed a sim race so much at the time. I don't think I ever enjoyed commentating so much. So we're hoping for that type of action. But there's also a side of me that wants to see lots of action, but also wants to see good sort of racing standards. And so I'm kind of twisted between wanting lots of chaos and, lots of crashes. A 6-car crash would be quite fun. But I also want to see good racing. And, we want both as commentators and as everybody who's watching today, that they want to see lots of chaos. But for the drivers, I really do hope there's a big battle going on, because for them, they won't be hoping for that. But for us, we're hoping for it, and we really want it. We have known, though, this season, that we've always, in every race this season, we've actually had a battle for the lead. In the final 5 laps at least, we've had a battle for the lead. We know that wins have come down to the last corner. We all remember Suzuka 2022 with Max Verstappen winning the title because Charles Leclerc missed that last corner. But I feel like today will be a good race because if it's dry, you've got to find the grip because the tyres do burn out quickly. But if it's wet, it's going to be about tyre saving, but it's also going to be being about opportunistic and going for that dive bomb, going for that move at the right time. So either way, if we get dry or wet or anything that really happens, we always know that we will get quite a bit of action at Suzuka. Yeah.
Us commentators are biased towards action. That's the only thing we are biased towards. But we are having another lobby restart. So unfortunately, everyone, it's going to be even further delayed. But we are hoping we can bring you the action. But we're hoping we can start. But it looks like we're going to be a tiny bit more delayed.
Yes, we will be going back to then intermission for a couple of minutes. Sorry about these delays and the current issues we're having. We will be back as soon as the action does get going this time. But yeah, it's been nice having a good chat though, I have to say. So yeah, I will see you. We will both see you in a couple of minutes as soon as the race gets going. We view. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're back into the action now. Once again, I believe we're on time. We should be going very shortly. We should be going. We've got 19 drivers. Don't say we've hit a glitch. Nope. We're all getting ready to go now. So sorry about the small issue we had. We've had a bit of bickering going on in the chat about a couple of things to do with the lobby and, for instance, weather. But we are getting into it now. Finally, we are getting into the 27-lap race. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please think about subscribing to PSGL, and also leave a like on the stream and click on the notification bell to know about, for instance, next week's stream of PSGL. Yeah, so I'm back with Omi. He hasn't left just yet, but it's nice. I think it's nice that we've had a little break, of course, for us. We get to relax our voices for a few minutes. But the action, I think this has actually made this race more dramatized almost, because it's been a longer wait and we're just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that. I have like this bit of excitement inside, this extra excitement inside, because we've had to wait even longer. And that sounds a bit weird, but
it all builds up.
Yeah, it's like with F1, isn't it? Like big finale, Abu Dhabi sort of style. But we're doing it here in round 6 at Japan, so it's slightly different. So yeah, so we were talking about strategy. We've talked about strategy, tyre wear, and everything. Now, the big one, the main thing. Who do you think is going to win?
It's PSGL. It's absolutely unpredictable, so I cannot really give you too much of an answer, but if I wanted to be boring, I could just say Deha from P1, but it's going to be interesting to see what people do with strategy and all other sorts of stuff, so I don't really know who I'm even going to go for. It could be Deha, it could be Finn, it could be Meno, and I'm basically just repeating the whole grid, so it could really be anyone, but you're not really getting an answer from me with that question.
Fair enough. For me, it's up between two drivers. The second place, AlphaTauri, man. I think he's at the moment, in my opinion, the favourite, just because of how close he is to Deha. And also, we've got to remember, he seems to be on the better side of the grid. So that could put him in the lead off the start for Alessandro Finn. And also Joris in 8th. I know Joris is 8th, but we know he has an overtaking ability that's definitely one of the highest. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go for PSGL F5 in Suzuka. And it's a good start from Deha right off the start. Let's try and get everything up on my screen. And there we go. So coming through, a bit of wing coming off for, I believe, a Red Bull further back. And Deha still leads from Alessandro Finn. And there is a drive around. It is a McLaren. It is Aljat in the McLaren. That's all the way back, who spun off of, I believe, through turn 1. At the moment, good starts from a couple of drivers. Ash holding on to position. Joris has had a very good start, up to 5th place. As you can see, the Haas driver of Deha still leads from Alessandro Finn. Then for Meno, Matteo Ria, and then Joris, followed by Ash, Philip Salsa, Domi JD, TS, who's just made the move on Balaz Paymer, and we can see some moves happening, and there goes Meno for P2 over Alessandro Finn. They're still side by side, they're still trying to go for it. Alessandro Finn has the inside line. Can he make it? Will he be able to hold on to his P2 spot? Yes, he is. Very nice move there from the AlphaTauri driver. We can also see that Joris also got past the Mercedes of Matteo Ria, but I can see that Joris is on the soft tyres, so it makes a small change. Looking further back down the grid, do we have action? Yes, we do, between Adam Lundqvist and the Alfa Romeo, is it? Or the Haas of Maximilian Luckout, trying to go on the Alfa Romeo of Paymo as well. And there goes an ambitious dive from the Mercedes of Victor Vidler. But he does make the move as we look further ahead. A Williams swap. Domi JD holds on to 8th place ahead of his teammate T.S. Korsman. And Joyce makes the move up to P2. He's going to go past Alessandro Finn. Aljaz has a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. A good start from a couple of drivers and another 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Aljaz retires from the session only on lap 2 of this race. Very disappointing there for the McLaren driver. But what a start from quite a few people, and what a start from our championship leader, Joyce.
Joris on those soft tires was absolutely flying. He was in a big battle there with Finn and Menno as well. They absolutely squabbled it up. And now Joris, as you can see, Dale didn't really have to contend with any kind of battles, but he's now being chased by Joris, who is on those soft compound tires, as we said, but they were all squabbling right behind, and there's going to be a late send from Felipe as he's going to go down the inside of the hairpin as he tries to get past Mattia, who is going to try. It'll become a bit of a traction race, and Mattia on those hard tires trying to keep Felipe behind, but he won't be able to as they're going to head into Spoon Curve. Unfortunately, I have to say, for Alja, not really the opening lap he wanted, and he's fully out of this race, as you mentioned earlier, but some brilliant action straight away here in PSGL as they'll make their way through towards 130R, a place that is a risky place to make overtakes, but looks like Joris is going to go for one. Joris is going to go for one for the race lead as well.
And here he goes. No, he doesn't. He thinks better of it. Philip Salsa fighting with the McLaren. As we can see, Alessandro Finn breaks early. Is the Red Bull going to get past the McLaren? We've spoken quite a lot about this, and we look to the lead actually, and there goes Joris for the lead of this race. Our championship leader finds himself back into the lead, just like in the championship. He leads in Suzuka. He is on soft tyres, remember, and as we look further back, Menno does hold off Philip Salsa, but the man who actually lost out quite badly there is actually Alessandro Finn, but we've got to remember he is on the hard tyres, so it could be just tyre difference between him and the Red Bull and McLaren, who are both on the mediums, I believe, in front. I believe they are. We will actually get that up now. No, Menno is also on the hard tyres, so it looks like Alessandro Finn is just struggling for a bit of pace right now. Not the start that he would have wanted for Alessandro Finn, but when we look at the grid, as there's actually a battle going on between Ash and Domi JD over 7th place, but Ash does hold on to that 7th place. Talking about the biggest winner of this race is actually Joris, race leader. He's gained 7 positions, but we've got to remember he is on the soft tyres in that Ferrari. And remember, they do drop off at around lap 5 or 6. They really start to struggle, so he's not going to last long. I would say probably lap 8 or 9 is when he will pit on the soft tyres. But our biggest loser is ultimately Zach Miles, who's actually lost 13 places. He started 5th today. So disappointing from one side of the garage. You know, one side of the garage for Alpha Tauri is good, and there's a yellow flag for the back. I believe that is a driverless round. Yes, it was. It was Zalan Bida who found himself having a little spin. And that's all cleared up now, as we see Alessandro Finn trying to go for a small move on Menno, but doesn't make the move there. What a start from everybody.
Exactly, yeah, what a start by absolutely everyone. But while you were watching the move for the race lead, Joe was getting past there, I was keeping an eye on the battle for third, and they literally went 3-1 into turn 1. However, Finn sensibly did back right out of it, and actually Felipe was just able to make the move just a few corners ago as well to move up to P3. Now he's going to try stretch clear on those mediums and let Menno battle with the likes of Alexander Finn, Mattia, Ash, all of these drivers, and obviously Domi JD as well. All of these guys on the hard tyres, and they're literally all hitting each other, and they're all literally ramming into the back of each other as they headed into the hairpin. And you're going to have Palmer losing out there 2 places. So Palmer not getting the exit that he wanted, and he's losing out now as they make their way towards Spoon Curve. Is Adam feeling brave? No, he can't make the move, but it was very close between the 2 Williams drivers as well. But look to the race lead. Dell is going to have a run, and Dell is going to be getting closer. He might force a defensive shape. He's going to stay behind. Don't want to risk it at this stage of the race into 130R, but you can when you get into the braking zone. But he's staying behind because he knows there's a DRS coming up. But when you make your way through the chicane and then you apply the power, and the rear wing, the band door is about to go open, and is he going to make this move? He's immediately pulling to the inside line. It doesn't look like Joyce will be able to contend because the DRS for the Haas driver means that he has P1 as he heads into turn 1.
As we also see Victor Villa on the softs coming in already, and there goes Belasas Pema there, out of the race, second driver to retire. Disappointing there for the Alfa Romeo driver. I'm slightly disappointed we've already had 2 retirements in just the first 5 laps. It's not the worst, of course, but it is always disappointing that you don't have almost in full grid. So far, we've got to talk about one man who's making some distance up on the grid, and that's Adam Lundqvist. Qualified, I believe, 17th place, 17th or 16th, and now he is in 10th in for 1 point, which, of course, I know he'll be very happy with. Either way, you know, to go from no point from 16th, 17th to 10th, he'll be pretty happy with. But Victor Vidler, on those softs, he had to pit on lap 5. That's not great to pit. Sorry, lap 4 he had to pit on. But now, does this mean that softs are really going to struggle? And could we see Joris possibly pit in the next lap or two?
Yep, I think we absolutely could, because really he wasn't able to stretch clear of Deha at all, and actually instead he was instead he's been passed. So so maybe the tides are starting to fall away for Joris. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. He might just hold it out longer out there, but is he gonna come into the pits this lap? No, so he won't come into the pits this lap. He is going to use the DRS though, and you can see Deha already going all the way right to the pit wall as Joris is going to get closer, as we have a look at getting a 3-second time penalty as well for corner cuts. That's going to be a big issue. Wide for Deha, but he just about holds on to keep P1.
Yeah, very good there, but that mistake could have ended both their races. There was almost contact for a second between our top two. Now... one man has gone under the radar, and that's Philip Saucer. He's gone under the radar a lot in today's race because he's climbed his way through. As we see, Victor Vidler speeds in the pit lane, and Victor Vidler retires. Another driver to retire. Obviously, he felt like the tyres weren't working for him, the soft to hard tyre strategy. But yeah, as I was saying, Philip Saucer, he's gained quite a few positions today. He's gained 4 positions. And so, he's come back from 7th place. And, although, yes, he is on mediums, but he's also catching up to Joris. So could we see a potential Haas-Red Bull battle reminding us of the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix qualifying slightly between Kevin Magnussen and Max Verstappen? But could Philip Saucer be pressuring for a win here?
I mean, he definitely has a chance to do so, and he's almost inside the 1 second. He won't get DRS this time around, but he'll also be under pressure a tiny bit as well. But he had a bit of a snap as well as he got on the power. But he's gonna keep P1. But yeah, he's actually doing really well, and also was able to make some moves as well earlier on. Yes, obviously he was against drivers on the hards, but you need to make those moves, and now he's kind of joining Deha and Joris currently, and also he won't be under as much pressure when he is inside the 1 second, so he won't be put as much under pressure from drivers like Menno and Alessandro Finn. So I think Felipe is getting himself in a good position, so he'll definitely have a chance to contend right at the front of the field.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I have to say though, we saw how quickly the softs dropped off, and we know the mediums last roughly about 4 or 5 laps longer around this track, so ultimately, this is how it goes. Around 5 to 8 laps for softs. That is the rough range for those tyres. Bit of an incident happening further behind. It looks like a Williams is going slowly out on track. Yes, it is.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure what happened there. Could be side pod damage or something. But as I was saying, yeah, with the mediums, we saw the softs. They last around 5 to 8 laps. Mediums seem to last between 10 to maximum 13. Hards at maximum don't last much longer. They actually last at good performance for only 15 laps. So, they're probably going to have to pit for the hard runners around lap 18. So we could see maybe a hard medium strategy from some of the drivers. We see you move further back. Menno makes a move on Philip Saucer for 3rd place. We're starting to see the medium and hard tires level out on performance. I think we're seeing that now that they're leveling out, because if it was many other tracks, for instance Austria, you wouldn't have seen that really between hards and mediums unless the mediums were worn down. And so this could be something that's it might be showing that pushing too hard is costing drivers more than what they expected to, and so I think we could see anything happen here when it comes down to strategies from now on.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really exciting with what all of these drivers do with the strategies, because we have softs, we have mediums, we have hards in this field. So it's definitely going to be very, very different for all of these drivers. When do you come into the pits? I think Joris is doing very well, stretching it, currently staying inside that 1 second of Deha, staying really under 5/10 all at every single moment, using the DRS to make sure that he doesn't come under threat soon by Menno as well. But yeah, Matthias has been getting very close to Alessandro Finn. So that brings us back onto our point where Finn's struggling maybe a tiny bit more in this race than in qualifying usually. So Matthias has been putting the pressure on in the last few laps as well on him. So he's got to try and recover. He's got to get a tiny bit more closer onto the back of Felipe. And remember, those mediums will start to fade away, so he should be getting closer onto the back of the Red Bull. But yeah, once again, Deha keeping P1 right now at this stage. Joris now using the DRS to just get close, but he's not going to be urgent for a move. He's just trying to really stay in this train, stay in this battle until he comes in to the pits, and after the pit stop, he's still hoping to be in this battle for the win.
Yeah, so that's gonna be something that I am slightly worried to a degree for Joris, because here he's making these tyres last, and I've got to say he's doing probably one of the best jobs I've seen when it comes down to tyre saving. But at some point, I'd probably say in the next lap or two, those softs are going to be dead. I mean, completely dead. We're already seeing him, you know, in corners, in a lot of corners, he is having to take like a tighter line just to try to keep the car still. And he's taking a lot less speed. You can see already in this lap, he's 4/10 slower. Even adding in some dirty air, he's still about 4/10 slower through the corners. But it's just the fast speed corners where he seems to have the little bit of an edge over Derhar. My worry for Joris here is that could he be trying to stretch the tyres too far, and is he ultimately losing time because of it? Because if you remember, the more he holds up other people, it's ultimately also the more almost he holds up himself, and the more chance others have to overtake him when it comes down to pit stops. But we'll see. Is he going to come in this lap? And still no. He's still wanting to go longer. He's really risking it.
He really is risking it, but he could get his reward later on in the race for it as well. He's staying close, obviously using the DRS, so he's not keeping the gap at 2/10. He's just gaining with a bit of DRS as well. But through the corners, I would say, he is definitely losing time, but he's doing well to say what his tyres are currently in. So he's doing really well. He's not coming under serious pressure currently by Mena, but he soon will when those tyres start to fade away even more. But I have to say, Finn, as I did mention earlier, he's coming under a lot of pressure from Matai, even though they're both on the same compound of tyres, but he is coming under so much pressure right now by Matai, who has been trying and forcing Alessandro Finn to go defensive, so he's really on it currently. Oh, Mena with a moment, and it will open the door for Felipe to get on the power. Now there will be wheel to wheel for a matter of a few meters until Mena uses a bit of ERS and keeps that position, but you cannot afford to be having those wide moments, and obviously Felipe's tyres might be also starting to fade soon as well. But he's definitely staying close, just like Joris is staying close to Dale. But as you can see, now the gap's 7/10. So now I think Epic, Joris's tyres are really going to be falling off, and he's been helped a tiny bit by Mena's little mistake there.
Yeah, you can see he's actually around he's about a 10th slower than he was last lap. More of a sort of 10th off of Derhar more than last lap, and this is showing that the tyres are falling off, and this is him taking perfect lines and not making a mistake. You can see it's almost 7/10 now, the gap. It was half a second last lap. I think he's got to pit in this lap or next lap. He's got to pit. He's losing, I would say, you see, last lap he's definitely lost probably about 2-3 tenths to Derhar now. You can see he's losing so much time. It's 6 tenths. This is the biggest it's been all race, by the way, for the lead. As soon as it reaches, there you go. That is the biggest lead we've had all race, is over 7 tenths. This is not a good showing for Joyce, because it's just telling Menno and Philip Salsa that, look at me, I'm slow. I'm on worn tyres, you know. Not in a mean way, but it's almost advertising that he's on slow tyres and he's struggling, because they can see, remember, with the changes in how you have the leaderboard while driving, you can now see in front by one position. So you can see the 2 drivers in front and the 2 drivers behind. This also changes the whole dynamic of it, because before you didn't know how, you could see they were dropping off, but you didn't know how much. Now you can see. And so this is what is winning, you know, this is what's going to win Menno and Philip Salsa something in front, because they're saying, oh, Jost is falling off more and more and more and more. To now the point where they're like, we need to make the move now, especially for Menno, because for him, the more he drops off of Derhar, the lower chance he has at even making a move, you know, on Derhar later on in the race.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Joris peeling it in, and that's exactly what he's going to do, and so will Dale. So Dale dives it in. We have Mena who continues on, so he's going to take P1 because obviously he has the hard, but we have the softs and medium drivers all diving it in, not a surprise, and we also have Domini JD as well, who's diving it in as well. So yeah, all of the pit stops now happening, and I have to say it is becoming a tiny bit overcast as well, and we didn't really get told the exact, and also we didn't, as Domini JD is also retired, but we didn't get told exactly the weather, so maybe some rain at the end to kind of please everyone, some dry the start, rain at the end. We really are unsure at this stage, but yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see, but it is starting to become a bit overcast.
Yeah, definitely. I do see those clouds, but there is Deha. We can see him on screen going round the Suzuka S's. Now there's a lot of yellow all over the track. Will this be a safety car? I don't know. Of course, we do have that worries for when people retire. We now have 4 retirees in this race, if you just want to know. It's Domi JD, Victor Vidler, Pema, and Aljat, who have all retired in today's race by just lap 12 as well. So it's been quite a lot of retirements, for quite early in the race as well. Now, this is important for Menno. He's got over a second lead ahead of Alessandro Finn, but this is now at the point where he's got to think, if I pit now, it'll be too early. But how long can I stay out and, pit and come out where I want to be? And this is the risk he's taking. Alessandro Finn doesn't want to take that risk, and he's going to come into the pits. Mediums won't stretch it. I don't think mediums will stretch, if I'm being honest. He's going to have to go for the 2-stop. He's going to softs.
Well, that confirms that,
I think he's seen Joris and what he's been able to do, and I think he wants to try to stretch these to the end, which is going to be something difficult to do, because that will take him to lap 25 for when Joris pitted. So, it's, in my opinion, it's too risky, in my opinion. He's going to have to stretch these tyres 14, 15 laps now, which is just, it's very difficult. And especially because you have to also push enough to catch up, but on top of that, push enough to not fall too far behind. And so I think this was a I'm not sure if it's a mistake. It might be really genius from him, but at the moment, I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely is really hard to tell at this stage of the race. However, I do have to say that Finn was really struggling, so pitting was the right option. Opportunity now for Felipe on those medium compound of tyres to go to the inside. Is getting tired as they head into Spoon Curve. That was tight, and you really don't want to be, you don't really want it to be that tight, because you're risking contact, and 2 drivers who've had solid races so far don't want that to get away from them. But you also have Dale under a tiny bit of pressure as into the pits. Now comes Mateo as well, but you can see Joris getting closer to Deha, and Deha's backing off Joris, and there'll be a chance for Felipe to maybe pass both of them, and you have Joris going defensive, and now all the way around the outside to the inside line goes Felipe. Does he get the move done? There'll be better traction there by Joris, who will fight back. They'll both have DRS as they make their way through. This is perfect, and also this is the perfect opportunity for Deha to try and pull away, but it did look like Felipe was able to make that move just a bit more easily, so he's able to use a bit of ERS and get all the way back onto the back of Deha. So really exciting stuff there, but it's Felipe who's now moving past.
Yeah, very strong there from the Red Bull driver. This is bad for Joris, because this is almost proving that the soft tyres and going for that longer stint doesn't help. Because now I've just seen what Mattia. I've just seen what I'm just a bit shocked, because when you look at some of the drivers up and down the grid, I know what Menno's going for. I know what he's going to try and go for here. He's going to try and go to the softs on these hard tyres. I would say the hard tyres have another 2 laps in them until they start to really go a lot slower. And they're already going about 1.5 seconds slower per lap. 1 to 1.5 seconds, depending on how much you're pushing. I'm slightly worried for Menno here, because he's got to pit by probably end of lap 16. I would say end of lap 16 he will pit, and then I think the softs will work then. I think the softs will work best then. Somebody we haven't really covered today, and I didn't really expect we'd be covering today, is actually Ash. We said about him in qualifying, But he's been under the radar. You know, he's kind of disappeared in today's race. You know, he sat in 7th for a lot of it as Alessandro Finn goes for the fastest lap. Ash disappeared. Whoa, big move. Philip Salsa makes the move on Deha for the lead of today's race. And now Philip Salsa finds himself into P4. And he will now have the net race lead. Now, this is my question. Did Philip Salsa start on the mediums?
I'm on my phone currently. That's exactly what I was checking. It's basically exactly what I was checking, and he did start on the mediums. So yeah, a bit weird there.
Again.
Yeah, he has to.
He's gonna. He's waiting for a safety car. He wants to use a safety car, so everybody pits then. Now we've seen in this race, we've had a few retirements, but we haven't actually had a safety car yet, which is quite shocking.
They've all been in the pits, haven't they? They've all been in the pits as well. So
something needs to happen here, or Philip Salsa has potentially just ruined his entire race and his chances for the win.
Or do they maybe know it's gonna rain at the end? Possibly.
I think it is starting to look a bit cloudy. It's definitely overcast. It's also, when you look at it, it's looking very grey, and so rain. At the moment, looks like it is very likely. That's what my small bit of my software is saying, is that rain is very likely right now. So yeah, it says over 70% chance of rain, so we might be getting that. So that'd be quite exciting.
Yep, we definitely, it's going to make it very exciting. That could definitely rain, and that's exactly why maybe Finn went on those soft, and it kind of explains somewhat and it also explains that I think the hard runners might be stretching this all the way to the wets. It might be a bit of a stretch, but could it be possible maybe for them to go all the way to the wets as well? And yeah, so it's definitely going to make it very exciting to see. It's going to make it very exciting to see how this all plays out. Everyone on different strategies and possible rain coming. So this is going to be a brilliant finish to this one.
Yeah, I've also realised something. The pace between the mediums and the hards have already levelled out. Pretty much this whole race, we've seen the mediums and the hards don't really have much difference in pace. You know, pace-wise, they seem to only have around 2 to 3 tenths on each other. Even when they're outside of DRS, it's only around 2 to 3 tenths difference, which isn't enough, especially when then they are in DRS, because they'll gain half a second on a straight. So really, it just seems like nobody's getting away, and that is proving to be true for the Red Bull of Philip Salsa at the moment. On those medium tyres, he's made a few mistakes, and it looks like that Haas of Deha is coming straight back at him with DRS. Here comes Deha down on the straight to the right. There goes Deha for the net race lead at the moment, and Deha returns back to where he wants to be, 4th as it stands. But remember, 3 drivers still haven't pitted yet, and he's still got to catch quite a few seconds at the moment. But that's an important move for Deha, but it's also a bit of an unimportant move because it almost put him in the spot of struggling.
It's really exciting to see how this race is going to play out, because remember, all of these guys are getting closer to the 3 hard runners who have not made a pit stop. So are they going to be able to catch them in time? What is the weather going to do? Will it warrant intermediates? It's really just it's a complete unknown. But I think Joris will maybe try and make and I also think Joris might and I also think Joris might try and make a move as well in this train as well. But because Felipe may be losing now some time as well. Deha really making the move, giving him a bit of confidence boost, taking these corners absolutely brilliant. But I do have to say he was a tiny bit wide, which has allowed Felipe to kind of edge back at him. And I also think he's going to have a chance now as they're going to make their way all the way through 130. So I think he'll definitely have a chance to use the DRS and fight back. And look at the momentum, look at the speed he's got as he makes his way through into the chicane. You don't want to make the move into the chicane unless it's the final lap of the race, because now you're going to get DRS. You're going to have a chance heading down into turn number 1. Deha, it will cover the inside line. And there we go. He's going to go. He tried to cover the inside line. He couldn't enough though. And Felipe goes down the inside into turn number 1 to take the race lead. And when the drivers ahead come in, if they come in, or if these guys can chase them in time, it's going to make it interesting, because obviously rain, as we said, is going to play a massive part. But Felipe currently does have the net race lead, but it's going to be interesting. Will it rain in time for those 3 hard runners to pit, or will they be chased in time? 4.2 seconds to the first one of them, and that's Julian. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm worried for these guys because they're catching, but they've only caught in the last 3 laps by just a second. So that's an average of around 0.3 per lap, which isn't enough. Which honestly won't be enough for them to win. You know, they haven't got that long, you know, to actually win today. Julian's putting some. I have to say, Julian and the front two are actually putting some brilliant pace in on those hards because they're staying at around 8 to 9 seconds in front, and they've done that for most of today's race, which is, to me, it's almost showing that potentially we could have a good fight on our hands here because they've still got to close up by about 10 seconds. And it's not coming down massively. It's only come down a second within the last 3 to 4 laps. This is not looking good for any of these guys.
Alessandro loses it into the pit lane, and he's now in the pits because he lost the rear end. He was under pressure by Matteo, and he's now lost that one. But Deha to P1 as well. Deha to P1. Sorry for that very loud scream, but I was actually watching that one, and Finn just completely losing it into the pit lane now.
Oh, what a weird mistake! Honestly, we don't usually hear somebody has put it into the pit lane on accident. But we do see that a bit at Suzuka, though, because of the way of the last corner, that it has a bump in it. That's probably ruined Alessandro Finn's race as well, because he's down to 12th now. Even on fresh tyres, he'll still be very low. Let's see, what tyres has he come out on? He has come out on softs. So possibly there won't be rain. I'm not sure now, because there might be rain, there might not be. But here is your race leader. Menno and Nishson is in the lead, followed by Ash, then Julian, Derha, Philip, Sousa, Joyce, Mattia, Adam Lundqvist, Tiers Korsman, Bio, Zach Miles, Alessandro Finn, Zalen Bida, Maximilian Lockhart, and Trix. And the drivers who have DNF today is Domi JD, Victor Vidler, Balaz Paymer, and Al Jat. So we're going to have a quick look at the tyres these guys are on. So you can see the top 3 all haven't pitted yet. Followed by Deha on hards. The drivers on hards are the top 3, including Deha, Joris, Tiers Korsman, and Zach Mars. On top of that, Zalan Bida as well. The medium runners are Philip Sousa, Mattia, Adam Lundqvist, Bio, and Trix. And then just 2 soft runners of Alessandro Finn, who pit accidentally, and Maximilian Lockhart as well. What an interesting race it's been, because some would say it's not been the most action-packed race when it comes down to overtaking and things like that. But it's been one hell of a race when it's come down to strategy and mistakes, because everything is leaning towards these mistakes. You know, we saw Philip Sousa when he made a mistake. He lost out 2 places because of it. You know, we saw that also with Adam Lundqvist and Alessandro Finn. Same there, earlier on in the race. This proves that sometimes overtaking is not the thing that's going to cause, you know, not going for just a direct overtake or dive bombing is going to be the thing that causes the overtake. And so, in my opinion, that's something good, though, that we get a bit of switch up, that sometimes mistakes are the thing that more causes it. And that actually keeps the drivers on their toes more, because they know if they make a mistake, they're going to lose out heavily because of it. You know, they could lose the race lead or second. And here actually comes the Red Bull of Ash, making the move and up into the lead of today's race. For Ash, this won't be currently, they still got a pit, so this won't be for the race lead. Julian comes into the pits, so Derha was promoted to 3rd. But still, that's a good move for Ash. Gets the lead some of this race. He's been waiting a while, hasn't he, for this chance for the race lead.
Oh, he absolutely has. But he has currently P1 on the road. Looks like Julian's completely as Finn sets the fastest lap on those softs. It looks like he's coming to the pits once again. But looks like Julian has escaped the plan of trying to continue maybe until some possible rain. They haven't seen any rain. No rain's come down, so best timing. All this could have really been their strategy to not use too much of the softs and make sure that all the way from the start of your stint all the way to the end, your softs look very fast and look in good shape, which gives you the pace advantage and allowed you to make some overtaking, and they also had some good pace on those hards. So I think a perfect strategy there for Julian, unless it obviously does rain, which then he could lose out. But how much will it rain? Will it warrant some intermediates? Will it warrant some full wets, or will they just be able to continue on dries? And if they can continue on dries and his softs are in good condition, that will be a bit of an advantage for him. But Ash and Men are currently still battling for this P1 spot, but Ash does have the position, and Menno was using a bit of EOS just to make sure that he remains close, but he's not going to be going for any kind of moves into turn number 1, so Ash has that one covered on lap number 22.
Looking further back, we've got Philip Sousa once again. We've said his name so many times today, and I think we'll continue to say it for the next couple of laps. But Philip Sousa, absolutely pushing his mediums all the way. The hards are starting to find the advantage due to tyre wear over the mediums, which you wouldn't expect after just around 8 laps. But they are starting to find the advantage. Do you feel like there is a potential? I want to talk about one man who's just sat back for like most of this race, and it's Joris. This man, since the pit stops, has just sat back and watched these two fight it out. Do you think he's saving EOS and he's waiting for his chance to take the victory from under them? Last lap move, go for something then. That we have actually seen quite a lot this season.
Yep, simple, yes, because his EOS was 100 until he just used a tiny bit a few seconds ago, but he's not using too much. Menno now is looking close to the back of Ash, and I also think Felipe is looking close as well to Dale. And also that will be for the net race lead when these two come in, so it's going to be interesting because we have Menno gaining, and he's kind of forcing a defensive shape currently from Ash, and they're going to make their way through the chicane, and there'll be a chance. What about also Felipe looking for the move? They're fighting over the DRS. Now can Menno take P1 currently on the road, but it's also going to be interesting to see what happens in the battle for third, because that'll be the one for the net race lead. Looks like Menno won't be able to make any kind of moves, but what about Felipe? He's going to pull to the outside line, and it looks like he's going to make that move. Nothing Dale could do in response. He was forced to the inside line. He kept the inside line to try to defend his place, but just the DRS being very powerful gives Felipe the position and also the net race lead.
Okay, we've got to say we have seen Deha a couple of times this season. We don't usually see it, but we have seen a few times where Deha gets a bit flustered. Oh, there's a slow car. It is Menno. Menno is slow. Menno, he's got a puncture. Menno has a puncture. This will probably mean that Ash will pit this lap in the potential risk of a puncture. That's how far they've gone for. That we found out how far the mediums can go for into a race. Just 20, not even a full 23 laps, 22 and a bit laps into a race. But that's really going to be bad for Menno because he's losing so many positions. But as I was saying, we have seen Deha a couple of times this season get a bit flustered by being overtaken. And I think we've seen it here because he's struggling to keep up with Philip Sousa now in the position of second on the road and the race win because he's 6/10 behind and Joris is looking for the win. Do you think he's just used his tyres a bit too much, a bit too early? And now his advantage that he had off at the start has sort of disappeared?
Yep, definitely could be. And Ash stays out. That is honestly a big surprise because he could be getting a puncher anywhere, any second. So he's got to be really, really careful because those hards are 23 lap old. So he really needs to not survive. But I'm surprised he hasn't come in. What is going on here?
Is he gonna? Hang on, wait. We've got to check. He hasn't stopped.
He hasn't made a stop.
He has to stop. You can't just go for the whole race.
Oh.
I hope to God he's not going to try and go for the whole race until the end. As we see Zalan Bida get a 3-second penalty. Menno is in the pits currently, down in 11th. Disappointing there. Puncture went a bit too far. But I think and look at how much Philip Sousa. Oh, and there is a puncture! Ash does get a puncture just around 400 meters down the road from where last lap Menno got a puncture. Oh,
They've
what a
taken
mistake.
They've taken it too far. What I was thinking was, because I was actually watching from the rear mirror, because his teammate was closing in, so I basically thought it was letting his teammate, and then I looked in front, and it was actually Puncher. So yeah, but now it's gonna be Felipe and Deho all gonna battle for the win with Joris in behind as well. So this is gonna be an incredible last few laps of the race, and could maybe we see some spits right on the last lap. It won't probably result in intermediates, but it could result in cars spinning. So going to be really interesting. But we're about to head on to lap number 25 now with Deha feeling more energized and looking for this race victory. Remember, Felipe's tires might be taking a bit of a hit at this stage. Deha and Joyce might be still in a good position. But yeah, unfortunate for Ash and both Menno, who both got punches. They took it a bit too far, and it doesn't pay off for them.
Yeah, as there goes Menno past Ash for 13th. Bit of a disappointing one, I think, for both of them. Yeah, this last 3 laps, remember, it is just the last 3 laps of this race. It's taken us a while to get here, because we had our little, a bit of a long break between qualifying and the race, but I mean, I'm happy that I waited to watch. I'm happy that I waited, because it's been worth it. Definitely, you know, punctures, issues up and down the grid. At the moment, I'm going to tell you something. I think Philip has saved his tyres enough. He saved those mediums enough behind Derhar to, I think, be able to push in the last couple of laps. As Zach Mars takes on a DNF. He's actually, and Maximilian Lockhart has crashed. Well. He's actually crashed on track. We're now seeing 2 drivers out. Oh my god! I have no words.
Oh wow! So many retirements here, but 2 on the circuit, and Phil, yeah, he's having to dive in. He's having to dive it in. So it's going to be Dell versus Joris for the race win, because obviously Felipe,
Felipe's gotten held up. He was held up by his teammate in the pits.
Yeah, he was held up.
He's down to 4th, 5th. I'm just watching this. We're all watching this. 6th, 7th. He's down to 8th now. He's actually lost a position now in the race. Oh my god. And he will be down to 9th in a second, as there goes Alessandro Finn, the man who accidentally pitted on his own accord, accidentally. That's bad for Sousa, because, I mean, he might be fast now. And there are spits of rain. Of rain. If you've already said that, I'm very sorry, but there are spits of rain out on track.
With 1.5 laps to go.
Oh. It is getting heavier. Look, you can actually start to see it's actually coming down quite a bit.
This could be a chaotic finish.
Could Philip Sousa have done the strategy, the perfection strategy? Has he done it? Might have he done it at the end, right at the end? He's 9th at the moment. He's closing into Alessandro Finn. We're currently watching Derhar and Joris fight over the race victory. I'm not sure if there will be enough rain to make a difference.
They're both fighting over DRS.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. We're going to go on to the last lap of today's race. We're going to go on board with Joris. Oh, big slide for Derhar. For a second, it looked like he was in the wall. But here comes Joris on the straight to the left. He makes the move. And in the lead of this race, our championship leader, Joris, makes the move for the win. And at the moment, leads on the last lap, making a last lap move with DRS. He's passed Derhar for the win, our pole position taker. He's gone from 8th to 1st. He's just got this last lap to go. Can Derhar try to beat him on track? The current gap is around half a second difference. Philip Sousa has already made the move on Alessandro Finn. We're going to stay and watch these 2 battle. We're going to go on board with Derhar for a little bit. Oh, another slide for Derhar. Very close for him. We can see the rain is starting to come down. We can see bits of the track are going a bit wet. And that's not what they want to see on track. And a bit of a mistake from Derhar there on the chicane. He's half a second behind. How much ERS? Both of them are around the same amount of ERS. So it's all down to this. Philip Sousa! 3-second time penalty. This means he will finish 8th. As it stands, he will finish 8th in today's race, which I believe is just 3 points. Not where he wants to be, especially the fact that he was fighting for a win. There's a yellow flag in the middle sector. Not sure what that was for. But here comes Derhar on the straight. They're both almost out of ERS. Oh, they're both wide! and contact into the last corner. Final 2 corners. Whoa, they're sliding everywhere. Who's going to win? Who's going to take the lead? It's Joris. Joris leads round the last corner. As it comes up to line, he wins. PSGL F5 in Japan for round 6. It's first for Joris, second for Deha, our pole position taker. Matthew Ria finds himself on the podium in third.
I think Adam's run out of fuel.
What a run from Julian to finish 4th. T.S. Korsman 5th. Bio 6th. Philip Salsa 7th in this race. Here comes Adam Longvist. Can he make it up to the line? Yes, he can. Just before Alessandro Finn can catch him. We've only got 3 more drivers out on track. The last of the points giving positions, Menno, round the corner. He was in for a chance for the win. He lost it all today. And now he is in 10th. Remember, he started P3. Maybe P3 is really an unlucky number for drivers. And there's Zalan Bida. One last driver. It is absolutely raining it down now. Some crazy late-minute action. I told you it'd be a last-lap move, and it was. Not where I expected it to be, but still it was a last-lap move. But here comes Trix, the last man to cross the line. We're going to look at our winner in the Ferrari and our championship leader, Joris, who extends his championship lead. I don't know how this man is doing it right now. I don't know how, I said in qualifying, if he gets back-to-back wins, that would be an incredibly sort of important statement on the track. Because we know he was saying that this wasn't one of his strong tracks. But my God, he did it today. And he's got some back-to-back victories, maximum points scored. We don't award points for fastest lap, but what a win from Joris. I have no words for that end between Joris and Deha. What an amazing race between everybody, if I'm being honest. So here are the race results for the Japanese Grand Prix here in PSGL F5, round 6 of the season out of 11. Joris takes the win from 8th to 1st. I said about the lucky even numbers on the grid just before the race got started, and it proved to work for Joris because he wins. Deha is in 2nd place. He loses out from pole position. Very disappointing. Matthew Ria is 3rd. What a climb for Matthew Ria. He wasn't looking too good early on in the race. Julian is 4th. T.S. Korsman in an unlikely 5th place, but he got it. Bio in 6th. Philip Sousa 7th. Adam Lundqvist 8th. Alessandro Finn 9th. Menno is 10th. Zambido 11th. Trix is 12th. And Ash is 13th. The drivers who DNF'd in today was Maximilian Lockhart, Zach Miles, Domi G, Victor Fiddler, Balaz Paymer, and Al Jat. Lots of names to get through there in a small amount of time. Yeah, a lot of names to get through there. If I'm being honest, I did not expect that. Pretty crazy. I'm having a small issue with the screen, but it's all right. Sorry about seeing my Discord. Yeah, but what an absolute crazy one. Do I have interviews somewhere? Do I have them? No, I don't. I don't know what I've done. I don't have interviews. I swear I put them in. Yeah, but we'll definitely do them next time. Yeah, sorry, there aren't going to be any interviews. If you could just put that out there, Omi, that there aren't going to be any interviews, that would be good. A little issue along the way. But what a race that was at the end. The rain came just on the last lap. The sliding, the contact. What a race win from Joris. What a battle for the win from Deha. I have no words. And also, I have no words for Mattia. How? He was down in 9th or 10th, and now he finished in 3rd. He absolutely had a brilliant race. I mean, well done to all of the top 3. Well done to everybody, to be honest, because that was a tough race. Strategy, mind games. What do you think?
Well, it's a race that had it all, but Joris looks top. Joris currently looks on top form. There's nothing denying that. He's always up there, even if he's not winning. I mean, he became the first repeat winner. Now he's taken and also now this being his 3rd win as well. So he's really just doing absolutely fantastic from 8th on the grid as well. So Joris right now seems to be the driver to beat in this field right now. Obviously, we didn't have 610 Lindart today, so it'll be interesting to see where he is as well next time around as well. So he'll definitely be, I think, in the battle as well. But absolutely incredible, Joris. And as I said, he is absolutely right now the driver to beat.
Yeah, I mean, 3 wins from 4 races. That almost proves to me dominance out on track. At the moment, you know, who knows? Like you said earlier on, unpredictable every time, you know. To me, I didn't think he could win. Even though I said he was somebody who was looking like a favourite to win, I didn't think he'd actually win. I thought, you know, it would be amazing if he did. And in the end, he did. So maybe I need to keep spreading that luck to everybody. Or just be the same person every time. Before we go, a bit of information on Aljat, who was the first retiree. He had no force feedback. So when the collision happened, he actually spun around off the start. He had no force feedback in his wheel. So in the end, that's what lost him out. Sally, it is that time of the day. It's that time of the stream as well that we've got to say goodbye. It's never nice. But yeah, we've got to say goodbye. And I want to thank you, first of all, Omi, for commentating alongside me. The terrors for you of me commentating. On top of that, well done to all the drivers, and also thank you for them turning up as well. Honestly, also thank you to everybody who watched today. Thank you whether you liked, subscribed, even if you just watched. It's just absolutely great to have you here. Any last words, Omi?
Nope, other than make sure you join us next week at this time as well around Imola. That's going to be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, so as he said, join us around Imola. Last couple of races of the season, remember, we've only got 5 more. So not many races left. On top of that, go and check out GT Omega products down below. If you put in code PSGL, you will get 5% off. And I have to leave you sadly today, but I've enjoyed it very much. It's been brilliant racing. It's been great to be back again after being away for a little bit. And I hope everybody has an absolutely brilliant week. And I will see you very shortly. Bye.
He's got the inside, all here is through, on the left-hand side, hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now, to the last couple of corners now, his finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.